Why doesn't anyone talk about anime ending themes? Compared to their opening counterparts, they are rarely ever talked about, which has always baffled me. I actually prefer them over openings, which I know sounds odd, but ending themes can be really unique when done right. Give it to the right hands and they can actually be just as good, if not better, than their openings, which is why I want to explore the different aspects about them that make it one of my favorite things in the medium. I'm going to be talking about each aspect one by one, but they're not mutually exclusive to each other. A lot of endings have a combination of them, but the ones I talk about in each I think get the idea across the best. So, with that out the way, let's begin. Okay, style is pretty simple. It's when an ending presents parts of the show in a visually different way than what it normally looks like. If we look at Space Dandy's first ending, it has an art style that invokes a more laid-back and hallucinatory feel through the colors and thick line work, which reflects these moments in the anime while subtly hinting all the space, time, and alternate universe stuff the show plays with through the equations, numbers, and diagrams that the characters are literally playing with, which I think is pretty clever. While this ending has an amazing aesthetic, that doesn't mean others have to be on the same level to have great style. Again, it just has to be visually different from what the anime typically looks like, and a good one to explain this is My Hero Academia Season 2's second ending. While it still keeps the art style of the anime, the alternate fantasy setting stylizes everything. The best thing being the outfits, which all fit their characters perfectly, like how Deku's an adventurer, Iida the knight, Ochako being a mage, which forms the main party. Then extending to Prince Todoroki and then finally Dragon Lord Bakugo. Even though they're all pretty different, it's all to defeat a greater threat. While it's clear who the focus is, it still gives us eye candy for all the other characters. Leading to the big battle, all ending with Deku channeling All for One through his sword at the most dire moment. It's still very much My Hero Academia, but in a very different way, making it a standout because there is nothing at all like it in the anime. Based on the art from one of the character polls, it just fully fleshes out the idea. There is a reason why people still make fan art and cosplays based on it because this ending completely nailed it. Hell, a lot of us wouldn't mind an OVA based on it because it's that good. Or if you want to go for an even more subdued example, Samurai Champloo's your anime. Showing beautiful warm images of Fu's childhood, that are presented like old photographs because they're snapshots of some of her dearest memories. The warm memories contrasting the cooler and darker color scheme of the beach because she's longing for something that's gone. The ending is honestly really simple, but the tender images make you really understand why she's thinking about them at the beginning, and why she's sad by the end. Simple, yet really effective. Hell, you can get even more subdued just by having simple presentation. Like how MMO Junkie is all done from the perspective of whatever is facing the character. Or one that I never get tired of is character cutouts just singing. I just find them really charming. But, back on topic, Baka and Test Season 2 has one of my favorite stylized endings. I love it because it has so many patterns and effects that visualize the romantic and game elements of the anime, all while the characters are in this round, thick outline style. It's one of my favorites because I love how not subtle it is. How it shows so many of the relationships in the anime while overall showing the relationship between the male and female cast through their Japanese characters. You see a literal back and forth between them, the guys running away from a giant girl one because they're always at the mercy of them, and then at the end, the girls being pulled by a small guy one for the reason I just mentioned. We look inside the carriage to the surprise of all the girls who are drawn in a style very reminiscent to the light novel. If I had one word to describe it, that would be character. Eureka Baby redeems Baka and Test because while the last two endings, one which focused on the guys and the other that focused on the girls, weren't bad, they felt a little too on the nose. Obviously trying to be cliche in what guys think, going all super cool with the darker colors and rock song, which you can look at as funny cause we the audience know they're totally not. The girls one going into their cliche being all soft and romantic when it comes to the colors and music. But they don't really tell you as much about the anime as much as Ending 3 because they're trying to be cliche. This one just fully leans into the wackiness, making it a blast to watch, and I think it surpasses the opening. I think this is a really good place to kinda end off on style and go to the next aspect, which is this one is pretty self-explanatory. It's when there's a lot of really good and varied animation that is either the main focus or a very big part of the ending. And I have to stress the word varied, because if I didn't, any ending that has a simple walk/run cycle loop would fit the criteria, and those aren't really what come to mind when I think of animation. If we look at Barakamon's ending, for example, while it has this amazing oil painting aesthetic that spotlights the artistic parts of the animation is what makes it special. How it perfectly captures the simple and pure fun of a child through all of Naru's actions, like how she plays with a stick, splashes in the ocean, picks up the seashell, as it briefly cuts back to the more meticulously animated Honda. The painting is alive because its soul comes from all the little moments in life, which is the main thing Honda learns throughout the anime. That art and life can go hand in hand. Or Little Witch Academia's simple, lineless, watercolor ending. That shows the wonders of the universe by having the star and Akko morph into them. The fluidity and floatiness of it and how it breaks makes it feel like it's alive, like it can't even keep up with all the things it's changing into, and how it elegantly transitions to the flying sequence. It all just flows so naturally that it just captures you. And as you can see, animation is used in conjunction with style quite often. While this is common, that doesn't mean it's a given. Like how there can be endings with levels of style that have little to no animation, there can be the inverse, ton of animation that keep the same look as the anime. Dimension W, although not a personal favorite of mine, its ending is really solid, for example. The fight sequence being the obvious highlight because of how well choreographed and fast it is, it's all of Mira's actions before and after it that are the real treat. They all have this nice weighty feel due to the detailed movement. The animation is more than anything subtle, but it's the subtlety that makes her doing little day-to-day things so interesting to watch. While this one's getting the idea across of really good animation with very little style, the best example, or one of the best examples in my opinion, is from Blockade Battlefront. For an anime about evil organizations, monsters, and mystical forces, the ending focuses on the more enjoyable wacky side that is always present even in the direst moments of the story. Having every character good and bad partying like there's no tomorrow. So many dances that are all incredibly expressive that tell you so much about each one of them. My personal favorite is all the different combinations of characters that show you the chemistry between them. There is a reason why this ending theme has been redone several times with other properties by fans. It just tells you so much just through the animation. Dancing is actually used pretty frequently for animation, like walking or running, but there's always more variety in the movement compared to having a walk cycle loop because they have to tell you that the characters are having fun. So while used just as frequently, I'm gonna allow it. If two completely different anime had dancing-based endings, they wouldn't be nearly as visually similar compared to a set of walking/running ones. And since we're on dancing, now is the best time to talk about something very important to it, which is our next aspect. This one's a little different compared to the previous because those grab your attention through the visuals with style, animation, or sometimes both, accompanied with really good music. Here the endings don't excel much in the first two aspects, but what carries it is the music. For example, if we were to mute Hunter x Hunter's first ending, while it showed a lot of different points of the first arc, like how it literally spotlights the main characters, shows the participants, examiners, to even briefly showing some of the darker things explored in it leading to the antagonist, to even showing some of the activities they do while presenting their personalities, it really isn't wowing you visually. Alright, let's look at it again, but this time with the music. The Just Awake by Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas completely energizes it. The hard rock with the techno-y and screamy vocals give it so much power while also alluding to the more serious and darker tone that the anime leans into more and more as it continues. None of the later endings come even close to the intensity and ferocity of this one, which is why it's so many people's favorite theme in general for Hunter x Hunter. Rurouni Kenshin's third ending did something similar, but if anything was more lazy since it just reuses a lot of footage from the anime. You're not seeing anything new like other endings that are completely original, but what saves it is Heart of the Sword by TM Revolution. And yes, that TM Revolution. It really captures the heroism and passion present in the anime, so while it's stuff we've seen before, the moments shown convey that feeling even more. I know I was bagging on it for using anime footage when I started, but here it feels like it's really good music accompanied with visuals rather than the inverse that I mentioned earlier. Without the song, it's just a bunch of random clips cut together. You could say the song is the heart of the ending, which by the way is so good that they used it again in a similar manner for another one. I'm not even a fan of Rurouni Kenshin, but I still think about this ending just cause of the music. And we can be here all day talking about music-based endings, but I have to talk about one of the best ones in my opinion, that one being from Tamako Market. While the visuals are just straight up beautiful, it's the catchy yet innocent neguse that really makes it go above and beyond. It's so inviting and warm like its visuals that you never want it to end. Like reminiscing of old summer memories, which is exactly what Tamako is doing. It's so simple, but it makes me want to rewatch the anime just so I can see more of her having fun with her friends. An amazing ending sometimes doesn't need crazy art or animation, sometimes just one good song to invoke a feeling in the viewer, which is why Neguse is amazing. So going back to the original question, why doesn't anyone talk about anime ending themes? It's actually really simple. They're boring. Or we're used to very boring endings. When it comes to theme songs, a bigger focus is put on the opening because it's the first thing someone will see of the show. They have to make it look as enticing as possible to get new viewers. Because of this, most openings are pretty awesome, but endings get shafted really hard. But it makes sense why. When you think about it, there really is no reason to make them special since they're at the end of an episode. You've already saw the show, they don't need to keep your attention anymore, making a lot of them really lackluster as if they're an afterthought. Really cool opening. Lame ending. Really cool opening. Really boring ending. Really amazing opening. Really plain ending. You get the idea. And this isn't even exclusive to anime. TV in general has been doing this for years and we're so used to it that we just naturally skip them. Netflix automatically does this. It's that common. But the best studios and production staff see this weakness as their biggest strength. Since they're at the end, they're completely free of the limitations of openings because they don't have to sell you on the show since you already watched it. They can be incredibly unique and varied way more than openings. Kyoto Animation has been killing it when it comes to style for the last 10 years. From K-on's high-quality music video aesthetic to Chunibyo's more dark and edgy look showing the inside of a Chuni's mind. And don't even get me started on Beyond the Boundaries ending, cause that one has a lot of emotions. They've been pretty consistent when it comes to quality endings, but even when they have weak ones, they usually redeem themselves. Durarara, and specifically X2, has some amazing endings that show the characters as they currently are in each part, with music that describes each part perfectly, all while still keeping the iconic aesthetic from the first ending of Season 1. Shou's being a straight up homage to it, having the same look and droplet effect, and even starting off where the first one left off, having a character run through a puddle after the rain stopped. But the never say never makes it so fun, like a celebration that Durarara is back and a way to welcome back fans after waiting 6 years. 10 slowing down since it's the middle part of season 2, visualizing how the story is growing. The seeds planted in Shou are beginning to sprout and the ending represents that. And then there's Ketsu. Being the final part and the climax to the story that's been going on since season 1, it just explodes, presenting the total chaos and beauty of it. The endings are amazing and respect the original while also evolving the concept as a way to show how everything has changed. Ending themes are something very special to anime because till this day, I haven't seen any other form of TV come even close to the creativity and effort that anime puts into its end credits. It's something really unique to it, which is why it saddens me they're always overlooked. I hope you understand why they're one of my favorite things in the medium. If you guys hit the end of the video, I always appreciate that, and what are some of your favorite ending themes?